Just tell us exactly what you would like to happen.
I'd like to see transparency. I'd like to see the data out there. I'd like to see also an effective response from the government to a petition signed by more than 100,000 people, backed by the CBI, talking for the employers, backed by the TUC, backed by the Equalities and Human Rights Commission. I'd like to see the government do something about that, not least because it's not just an issue of fairness, it's also an issue of productivity. We want to get the most out of all that people can give to our workforce and to our national success, and the data and an equalities policy helps us do that.
The pay gap between white and ethnic minority workers has narrowed to its smallest level since 2012 in England and Wales. You could argue that progress is happening.
I think that's good news, and there's no doubt that some employers are doing well in terms of collecting the data. But we know there's yet more to do. Let me give you an example. The pay gap in Humberside, 12.7%. The pay gap in London, more than 23%. Now, that's significant. The economy, because we don't have effective diversity policies in place in our workplaces, is losing something like £24 billion in terms of our GDP and lost economic productivity. Now, we can do something about that, but that does require us actually to get the data in. And yes, it can be complicated, but we've got to try. And the government's own review, the time for talking is over, now is the time to act, recommends this. So let's get on and do it.
Do you put those figures that you cited about pay disparity, do you think that is because of racism or because people who are not white are not getting promoted, therefore their pay is lower?
I think it's a range of things. We have to look at these figures, not on their own, but we've got to look at them in the context of what are we doing to make sure that we're drawing from a broad-based pool of labour? What are we doing to improve training? What are we doing to make sure, yes, Gloria, that there isn't discrimination in terms of progression? All that's part of it. But I believe in evidence-based policy. I don't actually believe that we should proceed on the basis of a hunch. And therefore, the more evidence we get about what the scale of the problem is, but also about what works. Because the good news is some things are working. I mean, let me give you an example. If you take a firm like John Lewis, if you take a firm like Network Rail, they're collecting these figures, addressing the issue within the context of a positive policy, and the figures are getting better. And they're more productive. They're making more money. They're doing more for the British economy. Because all the evidence demonstrates is that if you get the diversity issue right, then you make more money for the shareholders, you're able to employ more people, and as the CBI themselves has said, the business case is unanswerable. So yes, it's fairness, and the British people traditionally have been a fair people, and the business case is unanswerable. In those circumstances, government, let's just get on with it.
It's not that straightforward, though, is it? In 2019, those in the Chinese, white Irish, white and Asian and Indian ethnic groups earned higher hourly pay than white British workers. In
certain sectors, undoubtedly that's the case. But what the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development has demonstrated, and this is an organisation, they've been working in the field of HR for more than 100 years. What they have demonstrated is that it is possible to develop and implement a system that addresses the complexities, the trade-offs, and gives us a better, fuller picture. Because there's no doubt, and the Office of National Statistics has demonstrated this, that overall the ethnic minorities are paid less and earning less than their white counterparts. It's not fair, it's not productive, something needs to be done about it.
But maybe it's not about ethnicity, maybe it's class. Maybe the easier way, or a better way to work this out, is to have socio-economic pay audits. Maybe that would do what you intend.
It's not either or, Gloria. I mean, the reality is that social mobility is an issue. Look, I went to school on a council estate in the late 1960s. The fact of the matter is that in my profession, the law, we've gone backwards in terms of social mobility. It's harder now for a kid, as I was, going to a school on a council estate to become a lawyer. We've got to do something about that. So I'm for measuring all these things. But where we've got an opportunity to measure something, to get the data in, where the British public, in their petition, the CBI and the TUC and the Equal Opportunities Commission are all singing from the same hymn sheet, I expect the government to respond.
Well, they had their commission, didn't they, on race and ethnic disparities in March of this year. And they said that this is going to be really difficult to do data-wise. And they raised concerns that 437 out of 650 parliamentary constituencies in the UK are over 90% white.
Look, no one pretends these things are easy. But call me old-fashioned. It's not good enough for government to say it's all too difficult, not least when their own review, Race in the Workplace, the McGregor-Smith review, which was led by one of the UK's top business women, when she makes a clear recommendation for legislation, and when she's backed by the CBI, by the TUC, and the Equal Opportunities Commission, but above all, when she's backed by the British public in their petition, then something's got to be done. And, the government needs to heed its own advice. The time for talking is over. Now's the time to act.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.